Welcome, 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 and welcome to another episode of Men on Fire here on Soul Mechanic Radio. And today we have another surprise for you. It's another guest, and her name is Robin Roberts. I'll read you her quick intro now. Robin Roberts holds a Bachelor of Science in Business from the University of New Orleans and a certification in hypnosis from the National Guild of Hypnotists. Hopefully she won't hypnotize us all today into doing something we don't want to do. Anyway, Robin also speaks professionally, offering programs where audiences learn to use self-hypnosis to take more authority over their lives, attitudes, actions, and outcomes. Bottom line is, Robin helps people change their minds quickly and permanently. Hello, everyone. As promised, we have the incomparable Robin Roberts with us here today. And not only is she intelligent, she's funny as well. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy listening to what she has to say today. And I already introduced her to you earlier. So, Robin, I was wondering if you might be able to tell us about you're into a lot of the power of the mind. And you have certain techniques and you're teaching audiences and stuff. Maybe you can just fill us in how you even got started in that before we get a little deeper.
Absolutely. And I will completely blame my brother. Just want to say it, want to put it out there. And, you know, when you watch this podcast, Pete, I'm talking about you because we had a family business and that was at a different time when the economy wasn't doing well. And I had always had a propensity for drama, shall we say?
Right.
And my brother, he's a hypnotist, and he strictly did shows. He did entertaining shows, county fair, that kind of thing. And so he thought, you should do this. This would be really good. It could supplement your income. When I studied, however, I took the path of working with people one-on-one to help them solve problems such as stop smoking, dropping weight, sleeping better. That's how I actually got into it. So I always blame it on him, but you know, thank goodness that he showed up with that, because it has been my career for over a dozen years now, and I've helped over 1,000 people, and
wonderful.
It's been pretty interesting. The mind is really interesting.
It is absolutely very, very nice. And how are you able to help people with the power of the mind? I know you just touched on a couple things, but maybe tell us a little bit how you do those sorts of things.
Well, and maybe as I go along, I will bust a couple of myths that people hold about hypnosis. Because it is probably one of the more misunderstood modalities, and yet it is fundamental. It's absolutely fundamental, and we all run our life that way anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But when things aren't going well, we like to say, that over there, that's what screwed everything up. And the truth is, it's not that over there. It's your thoughts and your beliefs and your actions to that over there. Because if it was that over there, everybody would have a problem with it. And everybody doesn't have a problem with the same things you and I have a problem with.
That's the blame game.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So it really is what you believe, how you take it in and interpret it, and then your response to it. And my work with people is to get those things in congruency, right? So that I see this and I know that this is what I want from my life. So now how can I interpret this event or this situation so that I can use it to create what I want in my life and not let it trip me up? And that's what I help people do. And a lot of times they are not knowing what part in the play they have in it. They
Right.
think that something is, that's happening and I have no control. And the truth is we always have control, which, believe me, I get it. I'm not really happy always to find out that I had control over that thing that I didn't want to happen to me.
Right.
And, it's not that, oh, I welcomed, totaling my car or,
Yeah.
or whatever. But what it is my opportunity to define that event so it works for me.
Yes.
So I can get all angry and I can get upset about having to deal with the insurance company, or I can get upset about that idiot who, cut in front of me or whatever that might be. But the only person that really holds up is me.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can go, wow, okay, that happened, and look for what I'm grateful for, like I didn't get physically hurt or whatever it might be, well, now I can face it in a whole different way. So what I'm trying to say is I'm helping people take situations that they're not happy with and helping them figure out how it gives them a blessing, a gift, a lesson, so that they can process it and move more towards what they actually want.
Right, and that's what I teach too. Is you're 100% responsible for everything that occurs in your life, and through the way you think is the way you feel. The way you feel is the way you act. The way you act gives you the results you get in your life. However, I know you go a little deeper with things into the subconscious mind, and that is a big part of hypnotism, right? Where it speaks to the subconscious mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaks to the subconscious mind. And actually I have been listening to a few MP3s I downloaded on some hypnotism, actually, to do with a couple different topics. And it definitely, after a few weeks, it definitely creeps into that part of your brain to make you think a little bit differently. So it's absolutely works.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and all hypnosis, you think about, I'm going to go see a hypnotist and they're going to put me in hypnosis and they're going to solve my problem. And that's how it looks.
Yeah.
But the truth is, I am merely a tour guide to your mind. I can't make you go into hypnosis. So it's really important that when someone comes to see me, we're talking about what it is you want to achieve. And we're basically confirming your level of, yes, that's what I really want, versus, oh no, I want you to wave the magic wand to make it happen.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah, because people think of, and this is one of those myth busting moments, people think of hypnosis as the magic wand. I'm going to go see her and she's going to say some words while I, sit back in the chair with my eyes closed, and I'm going to open my eyes and never want another cigarette.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
kinda, but
say that again.
Kind of like that's really, I think of it.
That's how it looks.
A little bit as the placebo effect. That people want a third party to talk to get some kind of relief or action from that, and then
Right.
that encourages a belief, and you through the hypnosis you did plant a seed in the subconscious, so that will
Yes.
help verify that belief going forward. But it's not an instant switch. Or can it be?
It could be. It
Okay.
could be. But here's the important piece of this is, you as the person who's come to the hypnotist have to truly you have to be open, right? You have to be
Right.
receptive, because
Mm-hmm.
if you come in and you say, I want this change, but I don't actually want to have to do what it takes to get there. Because when you come see me, you're going to get a recording. That
Mm-hmm.
recording needs to be listened to. You need to reinforce what we're asking the subconscious mind to change. And if you don't do that, then it's not me. It's you.
Yeah, you still have to do the work, whether it's subconscious or not.
That's right. And in terms of going into hypnosis, again, I can't make you. You have to be willing. Now, obviously, we have to build rapport. You have to feel safe with me, and you have to feel like I'm going to be completely comfortable just being
Mm-hmm.
in the recliner and closing my eyes. And that's a piece of appointments where especially the first one, where I spend time getting to know you. Who are you? What do you want? And then I truly, I'm digging, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm digging. I had a client one time specifically for smoking, and at a certain point when she had her first cigarette, she was with her brother, and her brother was driving the car. She was in the back seat, and he turned around and handed her a cigarette. And I would bet you that he was just trying to get her to shut up
Yeah.
because she was younger than he was.
Sure. Yeah.
But her subconscious mind took that as an affirmation of, well, you're grown up now. I
Right.
value you.
Mm-hmm.
And so so those are the kind of things I'm looking for. When we did her hypnotic session, we had him turn around in the car. We put her back in the car, and he
Oh,
turned around and
cool.
said, "You don't need to do that anymore. You're finished with this." And she never had another cigarette.
Wild. Wild. Yeah. It can be strong, a strong attachment.
Absolutely. So it can be like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if she had never told me and I hadn't done my work, because my work isn't just about, sit there, be quiet and listen.
Yes.
It is, what is the picture that your subconscious mind is holding? And so even though she was a mature woman, her
Mm-hmm.
subconscious mind is holding that affirmation from her brother. Her subconscious mind is still sitting here at 15 years old.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so we have to if we just try and work against it, okay, you're not going to smoke anymore. You're not going to smoke anymore. That little person in there is going to be like, but, and you have got to help that picture evolve. Now, do
Yes.
I always know the picture? I mean, very grateful in that particular case. And there are things that people don't even remember themselves.
Right.
But when
Yeah.
you're in that hypnotic place and you're just moving back and you're assuring the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind knows everything it's ever seen, heard, tasted, touched, smelled.
It's recording everything. Yeah.
Everything. So you don't have to, on a conscious level, know, but I need to have you in a place where that conscious gatekeeper is gone,
Mm-hmm.
and that subconscious is open, and we're tickling it and going, for example, in the smoking one, go back to that time. Remember that very first cigarette. Now, I just happen to know her situation. I don't know
Right.
every client.
No, of course.
Yeah, but when you go back to that place, you are then modifying the picture so that the subconscious mind can now change. And this might seem like kind of a bit of a turn, but this is really, really important. And if people listening and watching get nothing but this today, here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
The subconscious mind is not logical.
Mm-hmm.
The subconscious mind is not literal. That's your conscious mind's job. Your conscious mind says, if I eat the cake, I got that on my hips. Subconscious mind has no idea, none. What it says is, if I eat the cake, I feel so good.
Right.
Of course, it's only for about 10 seconds if you have a weight problem.
Yeah.
But it is literal. It literally has an agenda. And so in the case of smoking, it wants you to feel affirmed and like a grown-up maybe. And everybody's different.
Right.
In case of eating, maybe it's comfort, maybe it's celebration. Well, eating is super complicated because we use it for so many different things.
Exactly.
But the bottom line to remember is that the subconscious mind only thinks in pictures,
Mm-hmm.
and it only is out to protect you. It's
Was that?
primary.
Sorry. Is that I'm almost hearing like, is that almost like the egoic mind then? That's what it is? Like the ego? It has a similar function.
Well, yeah. Think of the subconscious mind as really primal,
Right.
because look at it this way: you were born with it.
Hmm.
You weren't born with the conscious mind.
No.
That's developed by your parents and society. This is all about survival.
Hmm.
And so your subconscious mind sits on your shoulder, if you will, and does what it needs to do so that you survive. But now here's where the literal part comes in. So are you willing to play a question game with me?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. So here's the deal. If your subconscious mind is there to protect you and keep you alive, Mike, why would it let you smoke? Why would it let you smoke?
Good question. It doesn't know
Yeah.
that doesn't know it doesn't know the dangers involved long term.
Right? Because it's not logical. It's not linear. It doesn't
Exactly.
understand the cigarette is going to give me COPD or emphysema or whatever.
Right.
But it wants to protect you. So it's really, right, about what do I get when I have that first
Inhale.
drag, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
what do I get when I eat the cake or
Hmm.
have the glass of wine? And that is what the subconscious mind is trying to achieve.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if you're trying to drop weight and you find yourself eating the cake,
Hmm.
it was a hard day. You managed to not eat anything off your plan. And now it's 8:00 at night and you are, why is your subconscious mind letting you do that? Because it was a hard day and you did a good job.
I
So
deserve
reward
it.
yourself.
Hey, I do that all the time. a
There you
reward
go.
game, a little bit, right? So.
Absolutely. And so, and it could be, maybe it's the reward, or maybe it's, I'm so stressed, and your subconscious mind goes, oh, I know what unstresses you. A nice piece of chocolate. Oh, a nice glass of wine. Yes.
Mhm.
And so you have got to, anytime you want to make a change, eating, smoking, drinking, working out, not working out, whatever it might be, you have got to bring the subconscious mind along with you.
Definitely.
And that is, yeah, that's what hypnosis does. And again, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So you, good doobie, went out and got some hypnosis recordings, and you are letting that be the tour guide to your mind to help you reinforce the changes, because you got to change the picture. So we
Definitely.
can't have that piece of cake be the picture for a stress reliever or a reward anymore. It's like, oh my gosh, this great walk that I just took in the neighborhood, that's a great reward. And it takes repetition. Every
Mhm.
once in a while you get the switch flipped like that,
Yeah.
but it also takes repetition for some of the more ingrained habits that we
Well,
have.
well, sure, and that's how it becomes habitual, is by that repetition, right? So
Right.
then we will
Right.
do it automatically instead
Right.
of thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anything you want to achieve, it always starts in the mind. And I loved what you said earlier, because I think a lot of people don't really come to grips with everything starts with a thought.
Hmm.
I think people, like, they say, oh, I had this emotional response and therefore I X, Y, and Z. And that there's always a thought first.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so having the thought, and it's like a flash, and you just are so programmed having this thought, oh, they were rude to me, boom, disrespect, now I'm going to be angry, now I'm going to be belligerent. And
Hmm.
it's just so automatic and it's so fast. And you see a lot of people go, well, they were rude and that's why I was upset. It's like, no, that's not true. They were rude and you processed it as a personal affront. Now, I don't process that as a personal affront, so I'm not getting upset. So it's really about catching it at the thought. And I love that you're doing that work, because
Exactly. And
people don't know.
no. And what actually helps develop the thought is, I have a few things before thought, and that would be desire, intention, and then beliefs and perceptions kind of get lumped in together. So,
Yeah.
you develop those beliefs from our subconscious mind, especially in our early years, right? It's like you say, it was recorded
Oh, yeah.
up to a certain
Mhm.
age, usually around 6 or 7. Then our brain waves change, and before that, we recorded everything we saw, and everything
Exactly.
whoever we were
Exactly.
around, right? And develop those beliefs. And then as we get older, we even gain beliefs and perceptions from our peers and people that we live with and work with all the time. So we're
Yeah.
developing those, and those, like you just mentioned, why you got so mad, because you had that belief or that perception that that's the way I'm supposed to act when someone says those things to me, right?
Absolutely. But you
And
get to choose. And this is where I think you and I are both doing the same work out there in the world. It's like, please stop and choose. You don't have to be unhappy.
oh, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're also responsible for your own happiness, aren't you?
Absolutely. Well, if you get to control the thoughts in your mind, then
Hmm.
you are definitely responsible for your own happiness. And you know what? I want to say that doesn't mean that, for example, I am always happy.
Well, of course not. No,
Woo!
no,
Well,
me
you
either.
know what? Because, yeah, because we get caught in our own stuff
Yeah, all the little
as
stories go on in our heads. It gets away on
as
us
well.
sometimes. Yeah.
Right. And so, like, I have to sometimes stop and be my own client, right? I have to
Mm-hmm.
stop and go, wow, why did that really piss me off? Oh, because it got to my, my low self-worth today. I'm feeling, like maybe I feel a little heavy, a little sluggish, and oh, that really just set me off like that. Um, and I say that so intentionally because I think sometimes, um, you listen to people talking and you think, well, and it's like, no, I'm telling you, with all this staying at home stuff, I have had my moments where,
Oh, for
oh,
sure.
yeah, I feel helpless, I feel powerless, and then I go, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I get to choose. Oh, okay. But that's human.
Oh, it is, and I think it's part of our makeup. I think actually it's part of the universe where you've got those two ends of the spectrum on things, and almost dichotomies. Where something is so to us. I mean, there's neither good or bad. It's only what your perception is of things, right? So my perception of bad could be different than yours, and all that sort of thing. But you've got those two ends, and without one, the other, it doesn't really exist. Or how could you feel so good and have such a great time if you didn't know what it was like to feel low? So
Absolutely. They're
they almost need
important.
each other, right?
Absolutely. And so when people get all caught up in the feeling low piece of it, if 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 we can step back and go, wow, and say something to ourselves like, the good part about feeling like this is I know what feeling better means. I know what it feels like, and I know I will feel that way again.
Hmm.
And so I can I can step back. I can be a little more objective about it and not um so judgmental on myself, right?
Hmm.
On myself.
Oh, definitely.
And yeah, and when someone comes to see me with an issue, I I always say our work will be done when you can look at that issue and go, wow, you know what? I'm glad I smoked, because what I
Hmm.
learned is, and now I don't need that, and now I can move on. But but until then, it's like a looming thing. But once you can step back and see the gift, the blessing, or the lesson in whatever it is that you're trying to change, you've resolved it, and you can move on to the next lesson.
Because there will be one.
There will be one. Yes,
Yes,
there will
and
be. And if you didn't learn it before, you will keep getting that lesson
Yep, till you get it
until
through
you
your
do
head.
learn it.
Yeah, and it's like an acceptance where you finally accept something. In my life previously, where things weren't going well, and I thought I was a loser and a failure and all those things. You tell yourself those stories, but you're not that. It's just a thought you're having about yourself. And when you finally
Absolutely.
accept the fact that you aren't those things, wait a minute, if all I have to do is start thinking this way and I can get out of this, but it's sometimes when you don't get out of that, and I think it's totally normal as human beings to do that on a temporary basis. When people get trapped in that is when we kind of get into a depression, right? And may need help with getting out of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it isn't always easy to step out of your own way. And that's why
No.
there are helping professions which help
Yes.
you step out of your own way. But I think that people are becoming more open and more willing to embrace that they actually get to choose.
Yeah, did they have
Which
a little more control than they thought, right?
Yeah. Well, and look at you, right? All of those lessons where you felt that way about yourself have made you a compassionate person who can really hear what someone else is going through, who can really be a model of here's where you can be, and you are helping show the way, So how important was it to go through that? Like, it was foundational.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and there's many people, even something as terrible as cancer and stuff, many people bless their cancer that they went through it, because it changed their
Yes.
lives, in so many
Yes.
better ways.
Right.
So
And
I
maybe
get
not every day while they were going through it, but
no,
in
of
the
course
end.
not. No, when we're
Right,
actually in it, embroiled in it, yeah, we don't see the good stuff then.
No, we're just one foot in front of the other, and I think sometimes people miss nuances, right? That it isn't a journey, and you don't get from New York to San Diego like that because that's where you want to go and that's where you want to be. It's a journey, and you're not even always sure, God, am I on the right road? I need to check my map, but you get there.
That's right. And we never know when we're going to get there. I kind of liken it to a GPS. If you're going somewhere you haven't been before and you're just following the GPS, like every turn is just another turn. You don't know. I know it's going to tell you you're nearing your destination type thing, or you have so many kilometers to go, but really you don't really know until you pull up in that driveway where you're going that you're there.
That's right. And if you
give up,
if you go back, you'll never get where you were going. And sometimes people are like, oh, I think I'm on the wrong path, and they go back and they start again, and they keep going back and starting again instead of
just taking another turn, or just taking making a U-turn or a left instead of a right, or whatever the case is.
And you plan the best you can and keep your guidelines.
Oh,
like
yes.
a bowling alley.
Yes. And there's all the best laid plans always change anyway, so
that's right.
You do talk about the interactions between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. How do you think that do they fight each other, you think, or is that something that they're constant at war with each other? Or how long can we stay in our conscious mind anyway, before we're slipping back?
Okay. All right. we'll because this is great. People really misunderstand this, and it's very cultural.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you a question again.
Okay.
And that is, and those listening and watching can play along. How much time do you believe your conscious mind is in charge of your life on a daily basis versus your subconscious mind? Like a percentage of conscious mind, how much do you think it's in charge?
Well, I know I've read a few facts about it, but I think it's very small. So I'm going to say 15 to 20%.
Okay. Well, you're closer than most are probably guessing. Your conscious mind is in control of your day 3 to 7% of the day.
Wow.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. So, and the way to think about this is, I mean, we think about the subconscious mind and habit patterns, but also know that the subconscious mind is completely in charge of your body. Your autonomic nervous system is run by your subconscious mind. I mean,
Hmm.
you cut your finger, you don't stand there and go, okay, I want you to bleed. So you clean out the cut and I want those tissues to knit back together. You don't do that.
Right.
Your subconscious mind makes sure that's getting done. It makes you breathe.
Hmm.
The one I love is if your subconscious mind wasn't in charge, you would not know how to get out of bed in the morning. You would not know what muscles to extend and what muscles to contract. You wouldn't even know how to open your eyelids. It's running the show. So now that I say that, you can probably see why it's the 93 to 97% of your day.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And
Yeah.
I've been involved with some sports cars during my life, and I've had a few on some racetracks. And when you're actually driving, because your conscious mind is doing the driving now. It's not your subconscious mind, like when we go to the store, right? So it doesn't take long before you're mentally fatigued. It really
It's a lot of
tires you
work.
right out. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
was whooped after this, like the third 20-minute session.
Yeah. Wow.
you know,
Okay.
it,
Well, it does take a lot of energy for the conscious mind, but most of the time your conscious mind is not in charge, and that is why it is so important for the subconscious mind to be on the same page as the
yes,
conscious mind, because the more you can make it automatic, the more effective every action you take will be.
right. Makes sense.
So, and they don't fight each other, because haha, the
Yeah.
subconscious mind will always win, will always win.
Hmm.
So until you change the picture, if something's not working for you, if you're eating the cake, you gotta change the picture,
Definitely.
because the subconscious mind will win.
Hmm.
So it doesn't consider it a contest. It's like, yeah, you just do what you want, and I will make sure everything else happens. And the problem with society, well, that's a big statement, isn't it? Let me try this again. One of the issues is that culturally, we value the conscious mind. That's why we have universities. That's why
Yes.
we study, and we value that so highly, and
Hmm.
then it runs so little of your life. I
Yeah,
mean, can you
exactly.
imagine if we valued the subconscious mind like the conscious mind? If we really knew how powerful and how we could use it, wow, this would be a completely different world.
It
Completely
would. Yeah,
different.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah, yeah. We're just going through knowledge and facts and figures, which is nice to have. Don't get me wrong, but it
Well,
shouldn't
it's
be that. It
important.
shouldn't. Yeah, well, yeah, definitely, but it shouldn't be the absolute focus, and that's it. Because
Right.
there's so much
I mean,
more.
yes, I want a physician who has studied, who has loads of data, but I also want one who kind of looks at me and reaches into their intuitive mind,
Yes, absolutely.
and brings those two worlds together. And we culturally speaking have kept those two things so far apart,
Hmm.
and
Yes,
now that we've got some of these holistic healing things coming in, we're seeing that integration, um, and truly, the mind is powerful. The subconscious mind is running your physical well-being. So who's actually in charge of you being healthy?
no, exactly. Yep.
Mm, Not the government.
No.
Not the government.
I'm glad you whispered
No,
that.
you're in charge. Yeah. Yeah. Because who's listening? Somewhere between Canada and the United States.
Anybody could pick up this signal.
Yeah. And they should. We
Yes,
encourage them, right? Right.
absolutely, definitely. So I think that our discussion was great today, and had a lot of things we talked about with the subconscious mind, and how people can help change their lives, which is obviously something that you and I are both wanting to do for people, helping them help
Yes.
themselves.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I was wondering if maybe you could tell us how people could get a hold of you, or if they wanted to do anything, some of your courses
Sure.
and things you have on the go.
Sure, absolutely. Well, there is a PDF of Pivot Faster, which is how to pivot from having a bad attitude and a bad day to a good attitude and a good day. And you can find the button for that on my website. And my website is RR, as in Robin Roberts, rrthemindpowers.com. So there's that information, and I'm working on some courses. So look on the website and see what's up and new and happening. I also am happy if there's someone who wants to work individually. I can work with people individually. So, but I'm at rrthemindpowers.com.
And you're also quite an accomplished public speaker. Am I correct?
Thank you. Yes, yes. I love to speak. Find a platform anywhere, and it is really my goal now. I mean, I love working with people one-on-one, but now that I can move into a bigger arena and work with groups of people. And so I have talked with associations and corporations, because when you've got a group of people in an office, let's say, or a team on the sales team or customer service team, and they start getting in tune with running, like if you're not meeting your sales goals or you're grouchy to your customers on customer service, there's an underflow here that we can change, and I can show you how to do it. So working with groups of people now is really, I want to get out there exponentially and have bigger effect.
Yes, no, absolutely. As we both would love to do that more and more.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you, Robin, for being on the show Men on Fire today. And hopefully the listeners will glean a lot of that knowledge and move forward with their lives just a little bit more confidently now, with some more clarity. And
I hope so. Thank you. I loved having a chat with you, Mike. As always, you're terrific.
Thank you, Robin. And thank you once again.